one of the reasons they got me the position, and I was very happy about that. I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee, and I live here in Northwest Arkansas. One of the things for me, I guess, is the Kiva Initiative. See if you can see that. The Kiva Initiative program actually it's actually, so Kiva is the world's first online lending platform which connects lenders and entrepreneurs, starting with minimum loans of $25 and all the way up. But what was special about this particular initiative that Startup Junkie did with the Walton Family Foundation was to help specifically Northwest Arkansas small business owners to gain access. As we know, many small businesses and entrepreneurs don't always have the access or the ability to get funding from traditional banks and lenders. So with this program, it was actually a loan that offers 0% interest with no fees attached to it. It's just a straight loan. Normally about 24 months is the time period for the payoff. And I can go on and on about this great program itself, but if you have any more questions and you're an entrepreneur in it, me and Martha's email is right here below, and I can even reply to you back if you have some more questions about it, some more. Just recently, we were able to fund some great entrepreneurs locally. One was a medical coaching profession, there's baker, there's food truck, photographer, all types of businesses, and we've been able to secure their funding for them so that they can continue their businesses. I guess for us, though, the reason for this seminar, this webinar, is where we at today. You know, right now there's 1 out of 4 small businesses that are possibly facing permanent closure. That's not, you know, temporarily closure, but permanent. That's about 24% of small businesses if we were to look at it. And they're even saying, you know, that the numbers of unemployment can be up to 20 to 22 million unemployment. So these are just staggering numbers that, you know, even in my lifetime, and I'm sure either other people I've talked to have never, you know, faced before. And it's goes into, I guess, what I will consider, and a lot of people will consider the real DNA of America is its entrepreneurship. It's not, its corporations and a lot of its technology companies and innovation have been a great part of America's growth. But a lot of it is the small businesses and owners that we have, you know, that are employing up to 5 people per business. And so when this pandemic kind of took us all by storm, as now we're in the period of trying to get businesses open and try to help them figure out to keep customers and to serve customers, whether they're selling products or if they're selling services. One of the things that the program, the CARES Act program, is a poll went and asked business owners, how would you like your funding? Would you want it as, you know, equipment? Would you want it as direct cash payment? And 56% people said direct cash payment. There's no kind of way around that. People, you know, businesses want to make payroll and they want to, you know, pay off some of their own invoices. And so by that, that let us know that cash is still very important for a lot of these businesses. And so, and then another fact that they said was 43% are also looking at possible permanent closure or shutdowns in the next 3 to 6 months. So it's a real crucial time for a lot of businesses. Brick and mortar are having to, you know, figure out ways to go about that. And that's kind of what's interesting, how America and the world, you know, adapts to this kind of situation. Is what do we do next from these things? And so this particular webinar, we can get started on it. We all know the current reality is that we're working from home, and it's, you know, memes like this that kind of bring the humor outside of us as we maintain a seriousness. But let me get started on some of the things that we're going to discuss. in this. So I've tried to break it down. There's a lot of different things, but I wanted to break it down to where this is real practical, real easy, and you can also ask questions, and then we can make it a little bit interactive if we have the time. Um, the main things is a website. You know, you got to have a website, and then in your website, part of that is instant messaging, so you can kind of relate to your coworkers or even do customer service with that. Project management is another one, cloud storage, video conferencing like this, time trackers or is another good thing, and productivity. So that's how I try to separate some of these categories and some of these tools that would help you as a business owner for it. Um, let's start with a quick audit. These are some questions you should try to ask yourself as you're looking to say, how am I going digitally? I'm, overwhelmed with all of these different websites and software. There's at least 5 different social media, if you count Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok, Snapchat. That's just 7 alone. But the good thing about it is, as a business owner, you don't have to do all of those. I try to look at it as property. Online property, you can sure solidify your name in these businesses. So if it's a .com/ Alvin's Bakery, that's fine to kind of capture that. But if that's not in your strategy, like a Snapchat or Pinterest or something, then you don't necessarily have to feel overwhelmed by that. But it is good to kind of own that property a little bit. So, in this quick audit, ask yourself, what do I really need as a business? Where are my true 20% customers that will bring me 80% profit? And then what is the learning curve for me to learn? What would be, if I was to, learn this and then do a 1-pager and pass it on to another coworker or intern, or someone else, if I wanted to train in it, how easy would it be for me to do that? It's kind of how you want to be able to do when you're setting up the system for all your online automations. And then look at, budgeting as part of another thing. You get overwhelmed. Some of these softwares can be, in the enterprise level, can be quite expensive. So you want to say, do I want to continue to use the free version, or do I want to continue, step it up and use the premium version? That is, according to your business, and each of them, they always have a pricing kind of menu to tell you, this is what you're getting for the free and this is what you're getting for the premium. Another thing is to, is this something that is just temporarily, is my business going to use this if we open back up, if you're a brick and mortar, or is my business going to use this continually online as part of our new strategy? So try to look at it, within these 4 questions as we kind of look at some of these tools. All right, so the first one is another list. You can maybe jot some of these down if you're taking notes that we're going to go through. Trello is one, Shopify or Wix for websites, Zoom or Google Hangout, Evernote or Google Drive, Clockify is good, Canva is good, special for graphic designs, and Slack is good for team communications, and Todoist, and I'll explain why I put that one in there later as well. We're going to start with Trello. Trello is really good, that I've kind of seen myself use in other businesses, and it's really good for project management, especially when you have multiple people that you're working with. The visibility of it is really good. It kind of does things as a to-do, doing, done kind of way, and you can add more. I've seen people even use Trello to organize their family vacations. But it's really good software, which more so what is good about it is it avoids the back and forth of kind of with email threads. So if we're talking about a particular thing, let's just say keep using bakery, but let's say a brick and mortar that for a bakery. placing orders or plates or napkins or even ingredients. You know, you can separate it to say, did so-and-so get the groceries, and this is the list, this is what we need, and it goes into the doing kind of category. I'll show you. Let's see, it looks just like this, actually. There we go. So yeah, if you look at this, this is a good example, because in a to-do list, you would have, and what's really good about this is that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you're always thinking what you have to do today, what you have to do tomorrow, next week, and so on. And then there's the little small things that you may come across, whether it's marketing or, you know, something that you want to experiment with or something, and you just don't know where you can put it. This is good example how Trello is used as a to-do, doing, and done. And this person did it for housekeeping. So it was business housekeeping. So it's, you know, templates, emails. It's kind of a good way of seeing as a transparency if everyone on the team is doing what they say they're doing. Let's go to the next one, websites. This is actually should have been the first slide, but it doesn't really matter what order these go in, because it's all a part of your toolbox. And as we know, in the toolbox, you pick up what you need when you need it. The good thing is that you have to own a toolbox. And worst, you never want to be in a situation where you're putting furniture together or trying to fix something and you don't have the right screwdriver and you got to go to the store to buy it and all of that. So the way I want you to look at these is just what it is, a toolbox. So websites, this can be done multiple ways, a lot of different platforms, softwares. Again, I want to stick for just those who say, hey, I don't know this, I want to know how to do it, and I need something today. Shopify and Wix are two good ones. The reason why, and there's these two are good. Shopify at its lowest is $29 a month. And it's really good for people who are selling things. So it's a really good e-commerce website. So if you're, again, at brick and mortar, that's a bakery, or say that you a clothing store, and you want to sell online. So now that people aren't coming to your store or to your restaurant, what are the things that you can sell that offer with? So Shopify is really good because it has its templates based on your industry. So if you're selling bicycles, if you're selling things like watches or handbags that you handcraft, they've got really good templates to help you for it. They are one of the top growing companies in this space, literally. Wix, we've probably seen lots of commercials and ads for. Wix is definitely user-friendly. If you have no tech savvy experience, you can use Wix pretty much if you got an hour or two to spend the time on. And it's got a lot of different templates. Both of these too, you know, if you don't feel that's something that you want to do, they do have people that are available that are experts that can piece these things together for you in quite a bit of time at a budget that's affordable to you. There's, you know, from highly skilled experts who work with enterprise businesses that have factories, down to someone that says, hey, I've only got 2 or 3 products that I sell, but I just need a website. So you don't have to feel that you have to spend that kind of, you know, funding for it.
Yeah, and Alvin, one thing I'll say is I've talked to, you know, for years, I'll have small business owners that say, oh, well, I have Facebook and Instagram and I get so much traffic there, I don't need a website. I mean, the idea there is Mark Zuckerberg and his shareholders own all of your ability to market. And that's a scary thing. And
so that is a really good point that you made, because with having a website, you're able to capture your clients' emails, sometimes phone numbers, and their name, and sometimes cities, which is good for when you want to remarket something. And that is very important. And yes, most people do spend their time on Facebook or all of these platforms, but you don't own the data for it. And if you're an entrepreneur and you got a new version of a cake, or you want to wish someone a happy birthday, you know one of your customers' birthdays are coming up, you can, send an email to say, hey, this is, our birthday special. Or if you have a new bag or a new hat or a new t-shirt or something that's coming out, the good thing about it is that you own that data. And Shopify is really good at allowing that for you to go behind the scenes and see it. And so you're right, that's a very big important part of it, to do it, is have a website. And then here, some of the other questions is to ask yourself, is my business service based or is it product based? Because if it was a service based, you may not really need so much of an e-commerce. If you are a consultant, or if you're a coach, or you do therapy, and now you're not able to have customers come to you at your office, maybe you're product based, and more service based. And so Wix may be, in those two examples, Wix may be something more better for you because you just need something for people to book with you. And then look at, do you want to sell to local customers or nationally or internationally? How do you want your website to, the text, the pictures? Do you want to put a picture of your city, or do you want to put a picture of your industry into it? Look at how you want to do these things as you're collecting for your website. And that's kind of what I'm saying here is, gather new photos. So don't try to use your social media photos that you're taking from your camera and just think that you can place them on your website. A lot of times people want to see clear, more bigger pictures, not vertical up and down photos, but more landscape photos. Maybe it's not you as an entrepreneur, or you may want to sell it as, hey, I am a skilled expert at this. So these are things to consider into it. And if it comes down to it, again, this is one of the areas that you can actually outsource and hire a copywriter and say, hey, here's what I want to do, and I just need to come in a call to action language. So, because you don't want to write, I started my business and a whole lot of things that kind of confuse your customers. You want to write it in a story that captures them and actually, makes them spend time onto your website. They say, anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes is pretty good time for someone to spend on your website. So put that into consideration. Okay. The next one I wanted to go, I had it right, was video conferencing. This one is just what we're doing right now. There's tons of programs again for this one. Skype was one of the big ones for a long time that everyone used. Google Hangout was also pretty good for students and a lot of people to use. And now Zoom is becoming the go-to that everyone is talking. And we'll talk more. I'll explain some of the pros and cons and things to watch out with these video conferences. So with Zoom, it's just what it is. If we're using it now, do you know how to do it? But I'll say you've got to spend more time with it to really learn the actual tool behind it, so that when you're doing it, you have it in a controlled manner. And Google Hangout does the same. If you have a Google Gmail, Google Chat, it all kind of combines it all into it. Skype is another good one that's pretty good as well. You can share screens on both of these, and you can chat with people, whether it's text or you can talk to them. So that's a really good one. Now, when you're doing video conferences, you can look at it again in a couple of different ways. As an entrepreneur, for example, you may want to do something like this where you're doing informative. So how can I show the process of making the bike? So now maybe, or fixing a bike, if you have a bike shop and you're trying to, engage with your customers, since people aren't able to come in your store. And because, one of the things about a brick and mortar is that people come in when they don't even want to buy something. If you're walking in a high traffic area, You walk in, and then all of a sudden that gives you the opportunity to sell what you have. Same thing with all of the industries, from, dog, pet stores to, everything. And since we're in a period right now where we don't have that kind of connection, doing a video conference on how to make something, or how I fix, or what are my book suggestions that I refer, or if it is a free consultation on therapy or coaching, you want to do these video conferences to kind of show that you're still an entrepreneur, and that you're still an expert, and that you still know what you're selling. So in these video conferences for this Zoom, for example, there have been some cases where people have gotten what they call a Zoom bomb, or a video conference bomb. Then it's basically where hackers can come in when they know the ID of the conference, and they can just kind of take away the attention that you have away from you. And so, again, have your settings fully understood before you go through it. Check your mic, check your headset. I've bought this mic right here for less than $20. I believe I got it. And it's worth it. You want for people to hear you, to be clear. Make sure your background is not cluttered, declutter it a little bit to avoid visual distractions. And, more than anything, just watch the time. Be careful that people are giving you their attention. So you want to give the respect to them, to know that you're doing what you say you're doing, and that you're willing to follow up for it. And so try to be very aware of that when you're doing not just your conferencing. And let me add this too, for business owners. This is also a good way to connect with your workers. So if you're doing meetings, this is a good way. We have our weekly meetings that we do, and we're connecting in 4 different cities sometimes. And so it's a good way for you to stay up to par with your team and kind of follow up with that. So video conferencing is a very big tool that a lot of people are going to need and start doing. And more than keep it professional. You can wear your shorts, but make sure you have something on you up top. Let's go with another one, Evernote. This one is really good for a couple of things. I probably use my Evernote 10 times a day, from mobile to desktop. And the reason why I chose Evernote, it does have its free and it has its premium packages. But Evernote is really good because I consider it as sort of a digital cabinet. If I was to show you, I have still vanilla envelopes of things from articles that I've ripped out, or invoices, or even sometimes brochures, travel brochures, or whatever it is. Marketing ideas. Me in my field, I see a lot of things in the marketing, and I say, well, that looks, familiar. I like that, and I want to save it. Well, that's the good thing about Evernote, is that it allows you to capture that and to save it. Let me see if I can pull. There we go. And now you can do the same with Google Drive as well, because Google Drive connects your docs, connects your sheets, connects your photos, everything. So if you want to see these two platforms, Evernote is all of them in one, and Google Drive is all of them separately. So in Google Drive, they separate all of the different software that you can use for docs or sheets. And if you was using Microsoft, it would be Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. And so with these, you want to consider them as we move towards a paperless office. A lot of things that we're seeing online, we're capturing a lot of different information. If you see an ad that you like and you say, oh, I would like to do an ad like that, or I like the wording of it, where do you put it? A lot of times we screenshot it and then it stays on our phone. So with these two, it allows you to easily, and you can download the apps too, it can allow you to easily transfer it over into that kind of digital cabinet. And then that's where you can label things. You can say, these are marketing ideas that I like, or these are recipes that I want, or these are influencers that I would like to contact, you know, later on, or when I have the opportunity to maybe promote my business. So these are really good programs to allow you to take what you see or what you're thinking and capture it and come back to it later. And you can do that on the move, or you can even do that from your desktop. So it's real good to utilize these. They got search boxes, which is really good because you can go in and type in a date or type in a few words and it pops up, and it'll help you. So you're not thinking so much on trying to memorize them. In comparison to just the paper file cabinet, you would have had to know what year it was and where did you see it, and it'd take you a lot of time to dig. But with these, they have really good search boxes, which allow you to find things very quickly, very quickly. And this one is kind of giving you a visual of how Google Drive, you know, you can take things from your desktop all the way over and transport into your Google Drive very quickly. It's one of the tools that we use very good daily as well. Canva. Canva is another good tool. Canva is good because it's for graphic designs. We live in a visual world where everyone is seeing things visually, from ads to ebooks to reports, whatever it is. Canva is your go-to. Canva is really good because, again, it has its free and its paid programs, but it's super if you have very little patience or not a huge graphic design background or instinct, but you need to get it done. And so that's, you know, a lot of these tools is to help you not overthink some of the things, the challenges that you're facing. All right. So you don't have to feel like you need to wait for someone or you need to hire someone to do this. So in this particular example, let's say that you're working on a recipe book or a catalog, and you need to get it done. You have your pictures saved and you got where you want to take your customer, but you don't have anyone close by that can do the graphics for you. So Canva is a go-to that would allow you to, you know, easily place things into it. And I wish I could do it kind of live, but it would take up a whole lot more time. But trust me, if you're someone that's worried about it, you would be very surprised at how easy it is. And it's really good for social media posts too. If you're wanting to make content kind of all at once. So if you chose a weekend and say, you know what, I'm going to make 10 different social posts and I'm just going to make them right now, and I'll, you know, post them throughout the week or throughout the month. Canva is really good to allow you to do that. And because they have templates in there that can kind of give you, you know, some examples and inspiration. So this one is by far one of the top 3 that I would put on this list. Of course, why Canva? They do slides, reports, ebooks, and flyers. Like I said, it's really good for that. Let's go into Slack. Slack falls into the instant messaging platform. So with Slack, you want to look at it as your internal communication tool. So we all have each other's phone numbers. We all have each other's emails. We all, you know, follow each other's social media. And in the social medias, you can do direct messages. And so this by far, it's kind of interesting because this business, someone could have easily said, well, everybody can already, why would I use this? I can text the person. Why would I use this when I can email the person? But Slack has found that that is not always the case. And that there's a lot more in our conversations throughout day to day. And especially if you're a business owner, these conversations can go a lot further. You got to go back to them. You want to find a PDF document, or maybe you want to find something that you spoke about or follow up on a lead. this is one of the best tools because, again, it indexes and it has a very good search engine to allow you to look back at some of the conversations that you have with people. Slack, if you're looking at it, it's not for you and your customers. This is good for you and your team or your contractors that you're working with. So think of Slack as not you and a customer, but more you and your coworkers. So it's very good. You can do video with it. You can also do pictures inside of it. And it's a really good app. It has an app that allows you to do it so you don't avoid text messages. So Slack is really good. You can share documents, put the link into it. If you see something, an article that you see, Slack is very good for that. Here's how it looks actually. You can break it down into different channels, into different teams, and you can go individually.
Yeah, one thing I'll say, Alvin, that's I think for if anybody's not on Slack, what's so great about Slack is the channels. So you can have Susan, Gary, and Rachel have their own channel because they're at the Springdale location. And then say you have a Rogers group and a Siloam Springs group. You can have one channel that's everybody, but everybody doesn't need to know about something that's just going on in Springdale. So that's the really great thing. And then you can even set up Slack, which is like, okay, this is where you can put funny jokes. So if you want to read somebody's funny joke, go to that channel. But otherwise, this channel is only for this. This channel is only for that. So you don't get emails or text messages that are something that you don't like or you don't want to look at, but it's there and you can have it. So I had never used Slack in any of my work before I came to Startup Junkie. And that is the really cool thing. If you want to post something funny, then you can. Everybody, it's like we have one at Startup Junkie we call random. So you can do that. So the channels is really, really cool with Slack.
Yeah, and especially you may want to organize an event and, through Slack, you can communicate with each other on who's taking care of what, brainstorming new ideas, current idea. Like it's a really good tool to use. And once you start it, you eventually start figure out that you can't, live without it as well. This one is another one. This one I put in the list for as sort of more of an individual. So if you're the owner of the business, called Todoist. And I look at this one more as if you're say you're the owner of the business and you use all of these other tools, but you yourself still need to remember, you have an appointment, or you need to remember that to follow up on something as a small to-do list. Todoist is good because it allows you to have the reminder set for you. So in this case, let's say marketing. So you've created your flyer inside of Canva and you want to post it. But you want to post it at a good time where people are going to see it. And let's say it's around lunchtime or noon. Todoist, you can set a reminder for you to do that. Or you can use it in the manner of, if you come across an article or link that pertains to your business and you don't want to read it right now, you can actually send that link inside of Todoist, because where would you send it? You can email it to yourself, all these different places, but you can keep it right there inside of this folder. And when you want to refer back to it, it's a very good interface, allows you to swipe when you're done with something and delete it, allows you to quickly type something if you need it, remember it. And it has a desktop and mobile version. That is Todoist. Now, actually, there's entrepreneurs and business owners that are joining me. I can't really see myself or anybody else. I want to really dig into what you're using and what you are thinking of these lists or any other ones that you've come across, and maybe we can help you out. I can help you out and talk to you and just give you some suggestions as a wrap up for these that I just presented. All of these tools are basically modern versions of the pen and paper. Before we would write a letter to each other, before we would type something up, put it on someone's desk, instead of sending a Slack. So, try to look at these as just how would I do this? And if I was to have a pen and paper, oh, okay, so now this is just a technology version of it. And one of the very important things is privacy policies. It's something that many of us do not do. We set up an accounts and we just don't look at the 20 pages of sometimes more of privacy policies until when a situation happens, and then we're hiring lawyers to figure out what happened. And this can pertain to, intellectual property, or someone using your logo, or something that you're selling through one of these platforms, or something that you are doing an educational video and you see someone else actually taking some of the same things that you said. So review the privacy policies. If you can get a lawyer to look at them, that's good. If not, at least scanning it and reading things yourself is way much more than not doing it. So really look into privacy policies on all of these. Zoom, I know, is getting used to a lot of, since they are bombarded with a lot of usage, they're reworking a lot of things that people were worried about before. All of them have issues or things that people didn't like and they didn't expect. So, but that shouldn't scare you away from using them, because the main thing is to use it, as in this quote I got from Bruce Lee, absorb what is useful and discard what is useless. So take what you can that can help you and discard anything that is not going to help you. So think of it that way. Try to create a system meaning like, okay, what are the days that I want to use Canva? What are my times for Slack? So try to develop your own policy or etiquette or rules for your team to say, all right, like Martha said, we want to send jokes, let's try to keep it during the time or weekends or off time so that we don't get distracted. Or if we're going to do video conferences, let's do it at these times or these days so that we can maintain our productivity on other things. If we're going to update the website, what are the analytics that we want to check for the website? Do we want to see every Friday how many visitors came, or do we want to look at it every month? And so try to sit down and create your system to say, this is how I'm going to use it. This is when I'm going to use it. And these are the people who are going to use it. And that is the time for questions. If anybody has any, let me see where we are. Is there any questions or any suggestions?
Hello, this is Sean Colefarber.
Yeah.
One of the tools that I like using to do more of automation between some of the platforms that you talk about is Zapier.
Yep.
Have you ever used that?
Yeah, I was actually going to add that in. I also use iftt.com. If this, then that. Zapier is really good though. And I was going to show y'all something that Martha had asked to, but let's look at Zapier. Let's show whoever. How do you use it?
Well, you can use, there's a hook into Trello, and you can kind of set that up for an approval process.
Yeah.
And then after you're done, you can push out content to either Facebook or any of the social media that you can do. So,
yeah. No, Zapier, and you can, I don't know, with Zapier, what's also good about it is you can set up these. So if anybody's looking at it, Zapier, what we're talking about, allows you, wow, it does so many things. Let me give y'all two good examples. One is a home example, one would be a business example. So if you were using it for social media and you wanted to send out a discount post every Friday at 1 p.m., you can set it up rather than you doing it yourself and thinking like, oh, it's 1 o'clock, it's Friday. You can set up Zapier to do it and it'll automate it for you. And I mean, that's just one. You can actually still do another one if someone retweets that post. You can set up another one to do whatever you want it to do. Every time, another one in a home example, because now they're connecting it to houses. So a lot of smart devices in the house. So you can set one to turn on your thermostat every day at 7 p.m. There it is. So they're connected to a lot of these apps right here. MailChimp. I'm surprised I didn't put that in there.
You can
so
also
you go ahead.
So at Startup Junkie, we optimize Zapier by connecting our consulting meetings to, a resource sheet. So once somebody signs up for a consulting meeting with Startup Junkie, it allows us to be able to follow up with them later, because it's automatically allows us to know who's in a database of who's signed up, so that we can follow up with people that have used one service. It connects the two.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that's another good one. Like you can connect your calendar to something. So you'll go to like Calendly, which we use as well. And whenever someone schedules it, you can send it to where you want it to tell you where and how. It's actually mind-boggling how much you can do with these. And the real work is only what do you want it to do. So do you want it to text me every time someone schedules? Do you want it to send them an email every time? Do you want it to send them an invoice? However you want it done is how these are. And they allow them to connect it with each other without you having to do a lot of the work. So that was Zapier.
I will say there is some, anybody that tells you they know what the Facebook algorithm is or the Instagram, they're lying, because only they know it. But there is a lot of research out there that says if you consistently use Hootsuite and Zapier, that the algorithm sends your posts out less, that it knows that you're using that and you're not doing it live. I don't know. I have heard that from owners that kind of, they'll say they'll do Zapier and Hootsuite for a while, but then they also go in and do manual posts.
Yeah.
To mess with the algorithm. I don't know how much anybody really.
Yeah. And that's a good point that you made, because in that case, then you may not want to use it for social media. Because like she said, because some people will automate it for 10, 20 posts a day is what she's saying, is like, if that was, because some businesses and entrepreneurs look at that and say, wow, so you're telling me I can send out 10 posts a day without me posting it? Sure, I'll do that. And that ends up turning to spam, which ends up turning into a whole lot of different things. So maybe you want to look at it and say, maybe I don't want it for social media marketing. Maybe I want it for follow-ups or reminders for me, different triggers for when someone opens up something that this sends it out to them. So it's free. It's definitely worth it. The other one was, I'll show you this one, is ifttt.com. There's another good one. I've known one person that actually has theirs set up to send them a text message every time the garage is open. So they have a smart garage door. And when their child comes home, it sends them a text message to know when the child is there to open up the garage. So it's all of these devices. And again, all of these different things is to help you as a business owner. So turn on your porch light when the pizza is on its way. So this is connected through a smart light bulb. So tweet right here, tweet your Instagrams as your native Twitter photos. So create an event on your iPhone's calendar with Google. So it would do all of these different things that you want it to do. Is a really good one.
And we've got a question received. One of our viewers is interested in a software that might be able to capture images and store to manage workflow and archive suggestions. For instance, taking a picture of an invoice and managing that storage and follow up. Has anybody ever used a software that does something like that?
First two that come to, well, Expensify is one that comes to mind. Let's see if that
that was mine. And so I generate 50 to 100 of these a week.
Wow.
Customer estimates, and every week that goes by you get a bigger stack, and then managing the follow-up and the archive function, and there's no real clean program I found out there to do that, but I'm still hopeful.
Yeah, Expensify is a good one. Scannable is good because it connects to the Evernote. What Scannable does is actually just scans the invoice, but I think Expensify actually tallies it up, so it would actually read it what it says and put it in there. With Scannable, it's just helping you go more paperless on that one. So I hope.
Yeah, and this is not even the invoice. This is just the estimate that we're capturing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So those two are the ones that come to my mind.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Another software that I use that I found that's very helpful for me in marketing is Airtable. And I know that Airtable links to Zapier, but Airtable is essentially a calendar, and it's completely free, but you can plug in all these different things. Like the way I use it, I map out my entire month worth of social media posts. And so if you have the paid version, you can color code them based on, what platform you're posting those to. But I sit down either the first of the week or the first of the month and map out at least a handful of social media posts that I know that I'm going to put out that month or that week. And it serves as a reminder, and it allows you to put in the description. You can use this photo or use this caption text. And you can just break it down to the finest detail of exactly what you want to do with it. And then the paid version, which is really inexpensive, allows you to optimize it even more with color coding, syncing it to other platforms and that sort of thing. I find it very useful.
Okay, I like that. I've never used Airtable. I see it all the time. Yeah. Two quick ones real quick, since I got about 5 minutes. Another good one is Linktree. Linktree allows you, so if you are, you say you have your website, you have your social media, all of these different, 3 or 4 social media. So how do you tell people that you have 5 links, right? So how do you give them all 5 of your links at once? This one is really good because that's what it does. It creates all of your links for all your businesses or posts or blog posts or social media, puts them all into one, and you can share it with people instantly. It's called Linktree.
That's good for including in. So as everyone with an Instagram account knows, you can only put one link in your bio of your Instagram account. So if you have links to multiple platforms, you have a couple of websites or maybe certain blog posts on that website that you want to direct people to, you can link them all through Linktree. And so they click that one link and it provides multiple. So it's a way of diversifying your link options when you're dealing with something like Instagram, which limits you.
Very true. I will put these, let me go back to my slides. If you can email me if you wanted a list of these right here. I can, if you email me, I will put them together. I actually have them. I'm gonna add the air table and link tree to it. But I will send you that PDF document so you have a list of these tools that you can kind of play with yourself if you want. And so with that, I'm not sure if there's any more questions or anything else I can help with during this time. Anybody else? Any more questions, Kayla? No?
Anybody?
No?
I had a question.
Okay.
Since you did us a really good favor of putting all this together, what is the one thing we needed, what we could do for you?
Good question. Just tell people about the Kiva program. That's what you can do. If you know, well, first send me an email if you want this list right here. And that'll be good. And really more so just share. During this time, I think so many businesses need the help. And if we can just share to say, hey, contact this guy and Martha as well. They can help you get some funding if they can submit the application and they get accepted,
And
so that
just,
we can help each other. That's what you can do. That's what I appreciate.
And to add on that, if you go to startupjunkie.org, our latest post under our news tab kind of highlights some of the expansion of that Kiva program that we released a press release on that today. And so it's probably going to be on KNWA tonight. We've received a grant, or the Walton Family Foundation has granted an additional $450,000 that will go to help small businesses during this time of crisis. And so they've increased the amount you can receive through a Kiva loan to $15,000. And you'll only have to community raise 25% of that because the rest is coming from Walton Family Foundation, Kiva, and Startup Junkie. So check that out on the website. And if you are a small business owner and entrepreneur and you're interested in following up on any of these things, or you have other questions, you're in a place where you need some help, that is what Startup Junkie is here for. We're here to empower innovators and entrepreneurs. And even though our office is currently closed to the public, we are still taking consulting meetings as often as humanly possible. We're probably have the availability more so now, since we can just one after the other on the computer. So reach out to us. There's a page there to contact us and set up a consulting meeting on your convenience. So.
Absolutely.
And that's all I've got.
That's all I have too. And I hope this was very helpful for everybody. And thank you.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.